Leadership isn't about drawing a crowd. We know how to do that. It is about enabling, putting a structure together within the congregation and with each individual that allows the work of Christ to thrive so that you're living your best self and your best life, and that includes being part of the redemptive work of God in our very broken world. So Betty Steersman shows up and puts a list on my desk. There are 60,000 deaf or hearing impaired people in the greater metro area. Betty's heartbroken. There's no church for these people. Well, there are interpretive services. No. If you're deaf, a deaf service is very different than a hearing service that's interpreted. It's a very different world. Okay. What do you think? We need to have a deaf church. Betty, we don't have any deaf people in our congregation. Didn't matter to Betty. Betty, this is the mission field and it's right here. So long story short, Betty's heartbroken. We got to do something. Why do we have to do something? We got to do something. And Betty would not ease up. Now, there is a story about a widow who bothered a judge that Jesus told. And Luke tells us that Jesus told this story so his people would learn how to pray and not give up. And I tell people, I know this woman. She lives to my church. Her name is Betty Steersman. Now, Betty wore me out about we got to do something. So I said, okay, we'll start. And let me start interpreting. Do you know how many deaf people we had when she started interpreting? Zero. I told Betty, I said, I could have had you committed. All I would have had to do was tell the judge, we don't have any deaf people. 8 deaf people started coming, front row. Then Betty comes to me and says, we need a pastor for the deaf church. What church? You don't even have a Sunday school class yet. No, we need a pastor. And because of her passion and the respect she had in our congregation, we ended up calling a pastor for the deaf church. Now, we had tons of other needs. We stopped everything to call a pastor for the deaf church. In the business meeting where we're making this vote, one of the leaders stands up and goes, Mike, why are we doing this? This is a huge expense. Nobody else is helping us. Why aren't this stuff? Why are we doing this? And I shrugged and said, this is my response. We're the only church for Betty. We're the only church. And you know what the guy said? Okay. And he sat down. So I'm thinking, okay. Well, out of that comes a deaf church, a deaf pastor. A friend of mine comes to me and says, the Lord told me to build the deaf sanctuary. I know this is a dream. Let's do it. All right, it's fun. We call the architects. And we start telling the architects what we want done. How do we build a building that supports the worship of the deaf? It's never been done. The architects are stone silent. Did I say something wrong? What? And the lead architect finally looks up and goes, you won't believe this. We just hired a deaf architect last week. Cynthia is deaf. So Cynthia flies to Brentwood. We show her what we want to do. She starts to weep. I was born to do this. Now, on the campus of Brentwood Baptist Church is the only facility built to support the worship of deaf. Now you're thinking, what's the deal? The floor isn't nailed down. The floor floats. All the sound is pumped through the floor. The deaf feel the vibrations, and that's how they sing. They feel the vibrations of the floor. The chairs are further apart because when the deaf sing, if they sing loud, they'll hit the person next to them if you don't have that in mind. The best sound system in the church is in the deaf sanctuary. Go figure. Now, from that, there's been a deaf theological school set up. We train deaf missionaries around the world because of that. Because of that, there has been a deaf Bible. It's now in 30 languages, where you can get on an app that's done at our church and hit it, and there'll be someone who signs the Bible for you in your language. And all of that is done through the passion of one person. Now, everybody comes to me and goes, man, you're a hero in the deaf community. Everybody knows you. Everybody knows your church, da-da-da-da. And I tell them, I was at one meeting where I said, that's a good idea. Now, she was able to do that. The special needs ministry, same thing. All of those things came from the people saying, I see this need. And then me working with them to facilitate how our church could support to this need. And then the interesting thing is when a lay person in the congregation says something, the rest of the lay people will jump in. They wouldn't volunteer for anything from me, But if Bubba needs me, hey, Bubba's doing this, let's go help him. It's just amazing what happens when the lay people catch hold of the dream that God's placed into them. And you tease that out and watch them run.